Hey everyone, how you doing? It's Peter here, and it's time for episode 55 of the PDG Advertising Podcast. And as always, I'll give you an update of what I'm looking at right now, and it's a pretty beautiful silhouette-y sunset across Belfast right now. It's a beautiful hill or mountain. It's probably not a mountain. It's probably a hill called Cave Hill. And it's just providing this black shadowy silhouette on this side where the sun is going down on the other side of it, which is causing these beautiful rays of gold and pink and gradient, and it's quite interesting. On one of our adverts today for one of our valued customers, there was a background that we were creating, and it was a gradient. And if there's one thing that sunset reminds me of, with the kind of light blue at the top veering down into a fiery orangey salmon goldy color, that's what it looks like. But yeah, it's August the 12th 2019, and we're here and we're live, and we're gonna go through the things that went on today and anything of note and all of the things that make up running and being part of and working with others in a digital advertising agency based in Belfast. So I don't want this to become a podcast about me, about Peter Doak, but I guess the PDG advertising business is me to an extent. It's very much me and the rest of our team members, but we're such a small team that we could all say that we're a part of this business and that we are this business, which is a really cool thing to say. But and the reason why I say I don't want to make it about me is because I want to tell you about my kind of routine in the morning, which is becoming pretty cool and pretty essential for the way that I'm working throughout the day. So I'm on a big health kick. I've been trying to lose weight over the last while and making some slow progress, and not displeased at how I've been getting on. I always want to go faster, but today was like a good example of it. So today I woke up at 5, hit a good 30 minutes weights. This is at about 5:15. Really comes down to the importance of time. So the night before I had planned out my day, and it's like, right, wake up at 5, get your workout done by 6. You're maybe a little bit of back and forward, getting ready for walking into the office for about 7 or so. I didn't make it into the office till about 7:30 or about a quarter to 8. It was a little bit before that, actually, somewhere between 7:30 and a quarter to 8. And it was because things take a little bit longer than you expect them to. So 30 minutes of weights, but there's a whole lot of mucking about, me being half asleep, sort of bouncing around the house and sort of stumbling into things at about 5 o'clock in the morning. And then, just getting ready, mentally prepared to do some weights and putting on a little bit of that motivational stuff from a guy called Les Brown, and then hitting 30 minutes of those weights. And that routine probably isn't the routine that I do probably isn't the most challenging to a lot of people, but I don't think I could have done it maybe 3 or 4 months ago. So for me, it's just perfect. So I just have a couple of dumbbells, I do some body weights, and I've got a bench that I do some bench presses on. And then straight after that, those 30 minutes, straight into 15 minutes yoga, as it's called Yoga for Weight Loss. And it is on YouTube is what I watch and follow it on. I've been to like one yoga class in my life and it was awesome. But I don't know, I'm trying to make the maximum use of my time. So traveling to and from a yoga class right now just doesn't feel like a good investment in that time, because I can switch from weights into yoga, which is cool. And I don't know, I've definitely felt less aches and pains since doing that for the last while. And I'm actually looking forward to doing it tomorrow morning as well. So that'll be fun. But 30 minutes weights, 15 minutes yoga, and then something that's just an awakener. And about this time, it's starting to get light outside. The street lights are starting to go off, but it's still obviously really early because there's no one about. and even the paint shop across the road from me isn't awake and isn't there aren't people milling around it like there always are. So that leads me to the next part, which is a 15-minute sprints. So what that is walking for like a minute and then running for a minute, and it fairly takes it out of you. And I don't know, combining all that with the intermittent fasting that I've been doing, so that's not eating until noon and then stopping eating at 8. Even if you veer a little bit from the eating, I've seen a steady decrease in my weight over the last while, which is really cool. But also, when I was out running today, I was able to wear like this pretty cool t-shirt that I bought a while ago in, I don't know, Decathlon or somewhere like that, thinking, oh, it's a good t-shirt for me, but it was way too tight. So being able to fit into that was a good sign. And the scales, you can go down, I don't think you can go down like a stone and not say that something's working. So, and it's really rare this, because I've never been able to control, weight and eating and things like that. So being able to do that is pretty cool. So the reason why I'm telling you all that is because getting in early is awesome in online advertising, and it might be awesome in any job. I don't know about any job, but like if you're a train controller or something and you get in like an hour early, what are you going to do for that hour? Are you going to plan out your next move on the train? I don't know. Maybe that's really simplistic to the train controllers, because I mean, I respect all jobs, and maybe it's a case of if you are a train controller and you're, in an hour early, maybe you're able to compete with someone else for a job in that company or in that business or in that industry, because you're able to study for it in that hour that you're in early. I think getting in early is important, and I think it's important for myself, and it's bringing a level of structure to my work in the morning and to PDG Advertising, which is pretty cool, and I'm pretty glad of. So I mentioned briefly about the routine that I have in the morning, but I don't think I would have done that if I hadn't have planned it out the night before. So it's even silly things like getting your clothes planned out the night before and getting your fitness gear planned out the night before and writing down things that you want to do the next day. And it's really interesting. This podcast, it's not a chore, but it can certainly slip off the day's agenda, but not today, because I'd put it down as a goal yesterday, and it was the last thing that I wanted to achieve today. And getting it done and being this far into it already is pretty awesome. And we haven't even talked about any digital advertising stuff, and we will shortly, but I'm really pleased about that. So that's really good. So yeah, setting some goals the day before is really helpful in setting you up for a great day in digital advertising or train controlling or whatever it is that you want to do. So we've got some big news at PDG Advertising today, and it's across the weekend we got contacted by a company that wants us to pitch for their business in the middle of the week. Got 2 big pitch meetings, but one is unexpected and is very welcomed. I'm really looking forward to going to that. It's a real opportunity for the whole team, for myself, Nicole and Anthony, to work together towards a goal. One that's really visible and one that they can get really involved in with me. That's something that's happening right now in PDG Advertising, where I said at the start of this podcast that it's about me, but it's not. It's about me, but it's also about the Anthony, and it's about the Nicole and the other contractors that we have. It's really interesting. This customer that we're pitching for, so we're so lucky to be able to pitch for this business. Can't really say too much about it. I don't really want to say too much about it. I don't think it's smart to reveal who you're going to do business with for any number of reasons. But we are, and we're really looking forward to it. So something else that I just wanted to mention, I noticed that we've got a whole bunch of new followers and new listeners to the PDG Advertising Podcast. I really appreciate you listening to everything that we're saying on here, everything that I'm saying. I was talking in the royal we, but it's really cool. It's quite free flowing at the moment. I'll add more structure in this as time goes on, but look, this is just the PDG Advertising Podcast 55. let's wait until we get the PDG Advertising Podcast 100 before we start laying down rules and saying how we're going to do things. We're just learning, what to do right now and how to put ourselves across. And it's been a really good medium to, go over the day and figure out some things and see what we did well, and maybe some of those things we can share with our listeners, and maybe that'll help people going forward. And that would be really cool if we even help one person. Say 1,000 episodes would probably be worth it. So that's cool. So welcome new listeners, and if you ever want to ask a question or bring up anything, then go right ahead. Do it in the comments wherever you see this podcast. I'm sure the notification will get to me. You could send an email into the website. If you know me, just hit me up and tell me, look, I want you to talk about this on the podcast, and we will do. But yeah, we'll be doing a lot more of these podcasts going forward. Normally they're every day, but over this last couple of weeks, it's been mega busy. I don't know if that's a result of consistently doing the podcast or not. It could be. I hope it is, and it feels like it does help. But yeah, you'll hear more stuff over the next while. A lot of the stuff that I go over in the podcast is kind of, what could you call it, tame. It's fairly, we did this today, we did that today, and although I love it, and I'm sure some of you really like it, I'm going to get a bit salty today. I've done it before, and you're going to have to be a pretty regular listener and embedded into hear this. But I just had the worst sort of human being experience today. It was so bad. I was in an office block, and I was standing in the reception, and I saw just this person being like super rude to someone in the reception, and it was really explosive and it was really unnecessary. And then I was waiting for the lift to come down, and I got in the lift, but kind of thought that the person that was quite rude in the reception was coming into the lift as well. And goodness, the atmosphere was just tense in the lift. I don't know whether I was making it tense, because I might have glared at the person for being so rude and sort of shouting at this person in the reception area of the office block. But forget that. That's really nothing to do with me, and I don't like seeing it. But I mean, the people that were dealing with it were well capable of dealing with it, so it's fine. But it was a lady who was in the lift with me then that had been rude to someone outside. So I was like trapped in a lift with this psychopath today. I was thinking, cripes, what am I going to do if what do I do if this person starts being rude to me? And they kind of were. I don't know. I was carrying some boxes, and it was my turn. It was my floor to get out, and this person was getting out as well. But it was a lady, and like there's a kind of I don't know whether there's an old school thing, but if a lady is walking out of a lift or out of a door, the right thing to do is to hold back and say, "Yep, you go on ahead. Yeah, after you." I think that's the right thing to do. I don't know in 2019 if that's okay or not, or if that's sexist, or if it's the wrong thing to do. But I don't care, because I'm going to do it, because to be fair, even if it was a bloke, I would normally let the bloke go forward first as well. I wouldn't barge in front of someone. But then the most weird dynamic happened. This lady who was just oozing aggression said, "Are you getting out now of the lift?" I thought, what an incredible thing to say. There was no sort of awkwardness. And then I sort of went, "Yes, I am." And I walked out, and the person was, I could feel them right behind me, like right on my tail. I was like, whoa, this is just pure aggression. This is weird. And that was kind of it. That's my lift story. But does it need to be like that? Do we need to, like, I mean, should I have been more upfront and said, no, you go first, you go on ahead? What was going on with that person today that they were taking on the world? Like, they'd taken on someone in the reception area, they'd basically taken on me in the lift, and then to be on my tail the whole time. It was just very, very strange, and it kind of makes you wonder, does that person just go through life being a complete lunatic to people as going through It's more funny than anything else, but at the time, it definitely put me in a foul mood. I don't particularly like to see someone just so unaware of, how they come across, or worse, aware of how they're coming across, and being completely rude to the people that they are, um, interacting with in this world that we're trying to share. But yeah, I don't know. Bring it back to Scooter song. It's nice to be important, but it's more important to be nice. I don't know how relevant that is, but yeah, that's my story about being on a lift. My goodness, we're 15 minutes in, 15 minutes, 30 seconds in. We haven't even got to our customer round robin yet. So one of the goals, before we even get to that, one of my goals was to read at least a chapter of a book that I'm reading today. And the book is called How Not to Die, one in the ever long series of self-help books that I read. And this one is How Not to Die. And basically every page is just all of the diseases that you can get and how you can counteract those diseases. So all the ways that you can die and how you can counteract them. And it's basically things like Alzheimer's. So if you don't want Alzheimer's, then eat a plant-based diet, and that's it. Same as if you don't want a heart attack, then don't eat meat, have a plant-based diet. This is repeated over and over and over again on every page. I'm about 2 chapters in at the moment, and it's pretty good. I wouldn't continually read something if I didn't like it. And I mean, it's weird that it's saying the same thing over and over and over again, but I like it. I don't know, maybe that's a thing with me with what is that, OCD, where you need to do the same thing over and over again. I really don't know, but it's a pretty cool book. It's called How Not to Die, and if you Google it, you would find it. But I'm only 2 chapters in, so I don't know. But it all seems pretty legit and pretty reasonable. And I've been, whenever it's been saying stuff like there was something like Brazil nuts are good, but you should only eat like 4 of them a year. I thought that was a pretty cool thing to suggest to people. But I looked that up, and sure enough, there's some evidence to some of the things that they said. I don't know whether it's specifically about Brazil nuts or not, but yeah, it's a cool book. But so all of these things were part of my goals for the day before. So, get my workout done in the morning, prepare for the meeting that we've got on Thursday with a prospective customer out of the blue, rally the team around and get everybody buzzed and excited about it. So we're looking forward to doing that over the next couple of days, and I did some prep work on it today, and then read a chapter of my book, because it can't be all about what you're doing. And then one of the biggest parts of my day, and one of the most important parts of my day at PDG Advertising, is always my customer round robin. So I go around every single customer every single day, and I look and see what's going right, and I look and see what's going wrong. Sometimes things are going wrong. There's no doubt about that. Today there were things going wrong. There were connections that were broken. There was honestly, when you run a digital advertising agency, there's literally so much that can go wrong, because you're dealing with 2 big things in the world. You're dealing with technology and you're dealing with human behavior. And technology has literally only been around for maybe 100 years properly. And human behavior has been around for a hell of a lot longer than that. And we definitely still don't understand it in any real sense. So when you mix those 2 things together consistently, you're going to have errors, you're going to have unexpected consequences. I mean, you only have to look at this massive big Russia Facebook thing, or the Cambridge Analytica data scandal, all of that stuff. So, us trying to sell stuff online, there's just so many different things that can happen that can go wrong. Stuff does go wrong. However, what we hedge our bets on is that we work so hard on each of the customers that things eventually go right, and that we work it out and things go strong, and that we can adapt to things that are moving, to shifting sands that are moving all around us. What are some of the things that we did today? Well, today, one of the things I had down to talk about was teamwork, I think. It was just Anthony and I in the office today, and we didn't engage massively with all of our contractors, except for one, Tanya, our incredible Google AdWords specialist. And I don't know, with Tanya, she works away and then we catch up when we need to. Whenever we need to go into some teamwork, we do. but it's a little bit more sporadic and happens when it needs to. But Anthony and I, maybe it's just being in the same office, work really hard as a team together, and we're working on some creatives at the moment for a couple of our different customers. And you know what? It was really cool because I think we've got to the point where I think I said back in like podcast number 5, the PDG Advertising Podcast 5, if any of you are still listening from then, and I hope you are, and if you're not, then go back and listen to every single one of them. Treat yourself. So way back when I said, look, teamwork is really important, and one of the most important elements of teamwork is working towards a goal together. It should be obvious, but it doesn't always happen. And imagine if you were in a team where everybody was working exactly towards the same goal, and you did, things would be a lot easier. And I think that's been happening over the last while. So today we were creating some Facebook adverts, some Instagram story adverts. We're trying to create a video slideshow that we didn't really get right, but that was okay because we'd created enough of a suite of Facebook adverts for this customer to warrant saying we're ready to go and we're ready to make these adverts live. So we're really looking forward. That's a Canadian customer, and it's interesting because you have to write a little bit differently for Canadian and American than you maybe do for a European audience. There's some subtle differences. Basically, it's all the same. You get the right advert in front of the right people, and get them to take the right action. Like that's basically it. The whole PDG advertising thing is summed up as get the adverts in front of the right people and get them to take the action that you want them to take. That's basically advertising in my mind in a nutshell. But there are like hundreds of little differences in each different facet of it, and one of them is geolocation. Like there's a difference between a South African market and a European market and a UK market. There's a difference between a US market and a Canadian market. There's a difference between definitely between an Australian market and a UK market. There's cultural differences. There's time differences. There is language differences. There is dialect differences. There's loads of different things that are kind of against you. But I really enjoy that. I like the looking around at that because you get to learn those things. And I think it makes you better overall. So that's pretty cool. But yeah, teamwork is really important in our office in PDG Advertising, and I really think we fostered a nice atmosphere of that where we're working together and doing well on that front. So I'm pretty pleased with that. So I think we can tick off good teamwork today. Yeah, I mean, I mentioned that we were creating video adverts today, and it's kind of a bit of a cheat on the video adverts that we're creating. So we create some stills and Facebook collects them together and creates a video out of them. It's kind of cool, but it's a bit of a cheat. But we created something that we thought was really awesome and then put it over to the client and they said, I don't really like that. And that kind of happens sometimes. So I had to take that. And then we tried to revise it and we looked at it and said, this is probably more effort than it's actually worth whenever we've got a decent suite of adverts around it. So that was fine, and we shelved that. So you've got to sometimes know when the juice is worth the squeeze. You've got to sometimes know when to cut something loose, and I think that was the time to do it. I think we'll revisit it at a certain time, but no, not for today. We definitely had to move that to another day. We had a really interesting debate with a customer today. It wasn't really a debate. It was them asking us our opinion and us telling them, which don't want to get arrogant about, but we see a lot of stuff. And what I did was we got a request in from a customer in South Africa that sells some high-end product. And the customer was running a Facebook like and share competition or win competition. So you could win a free product if you like and share this like our page and share this post. So those were kind of cool whenever they first started, but I think you really start to understand the nature of the internet. You understand the nature of algorithms, and you start to understand the nature of Facebook in general. So people can be very shocked that whenever they run something like that and they get loads of entries, that they can't actually convert those people into people who are paying for your product. And that makes total sense now that that we've really thought about it and seen it happen, because the people that you're attracting to these free competitions for your product, number one, they just want something for free. There are professional people that only sit online and enter into these competitions to win things. So that's number one. So that's a problem. So the people you're attracting aren't right. Number two, those people that you're attracting aren't right. That's teaching Facebook that these are the people that you want. So you're going to get more of them whenever you do other advertising. It makes your job a lot harder in the future. It's not such a big concern, that one. It's somewhat a concern of mine because we're really in depth with the Facebook algorithm, and that's one thing that we don't want to muck about with. We don't want to get a reputation for wanting these people on the algorithm, because Facebook is smart and it will then say, oh right, well then let's pick out these people in the future for advertising campaigns. And that's a really bad idea. So that's number two. And then number three, what about the perceived value of your product? So whenever you're doing that, you're giving away your product for free. Do people think that everybody should get it for free, or do people say, well, I just paid, £6,000 for this and you're giving it away for free? What is the actual value of this product? And I think that's a question that definitely needs to be answered. And it would annoy me, but then again, that's not such a massive deal. But I reckon that the three of those things put together, the attracting the wrong people, the teaching Facebook to attract the wrong people, and the perceived value issue, big problem. Don't do it. Probably not a good idea to do it in 2019, and you won't see us advising anybody to do it on PDG at PDG Advertising. And I think we probably could have been a bit quicker with advising that customer. We were more like, yeah, we're not focused on that, and then they asked us some specific questions about it, so we had to advise them. I don't think it's such a good idea to do that competition. But hey, I mean that's a bit of something that we know and that we've learned and we're really confident in. So I think that was some value to that customer today. So everyone, the last thing that I'm going to talk about, and you'll forgive me if this is the last thing that I talk about, but it's fresh eyes. And the reason why I'm laughing is because I have anything but fresh eyes after getting up at 5. Although having said that, why not? You may as well push it a little bit harder whenever, I can right now. So, but something that came up a few times today was we were in the thick of it, in the thick of doing adverts. And we were looking at the creative over and over and over again. And there was a certain point whenever we in the office just came and said, look, I have looked too much at this picture and I don't know, whether this is good or not. So we had to take a step back and, try to look at it with fresh eyes. And I think that's one of the most important things that anybody can do whenever they're creating something, drawing something, writing something, is to take a small break from it and discuss it with someone, or try to look at it from another angle, because whenever you're in deep with it, you just don't see the bigger picture. And taking that moment to step out and look at it from, I think Gary Vaynerchuk calls it like the clouds and dirt. So get into the detail, but be able to look at it from a bigger and higher angle. But everyone, that is the PDG Advertising Podcast, episode 55. It's a pleasure to talk to you, and I'm hoping that in a few years these episodes will be listened to, and maybe we'll show and chart the journey of PDG advertising across the years. But I'm going to leave you now, and I'm off to get an early night because it's another 5 o'clock start tomorrow. I need to plan out my day for tomorrow as well. So I wish you the best, and I'm looking forward to tomorrow's PDG Advertising Podcast, and I wish you success in everything that you're doing. And thanks a lot again for listening. Take care.